mentioned, very smart first pick. Now these next wave of bans, is this going to continue to be focused towards the captains?
The captains, Lorelei.
Yeah, Lorelei, Lyra still being an option, could come off the board. Yeah. We could see just having to dig deep into those hero pools for the captain players.
Yeah, Lorelei's banned on the second phase so often. I'm looking from the draft patterns here. She's really strong. And as a jungle or even as a captain, that's why she's banned. So now Armada may take away the Lyra here or give it to Impunity because Poison Shift Box works well into it.
Armada are a little bit in a troublesome place right here because if they ban the Lyra, then Impunity can pick up the Arden, taken almost... Arden is already banned. So they can go with the Grace is the other pick that they can go for, leaving ROX Armada without many options for the captain hero. So ROX Armada have to make a very tough choice here of what to give to their opponents.
I don't think it's that tough of a choice, though, because even if they ban the Lyra, Impunity take the Grace, you can take the Lance. And having Lance Vox up against the Blackfeather can work very, very well. You can also use the Lance to knock the Grace out of her abilities. Both the Holy Nova and the Divine Intervention can be canceled by a well-timed Githian wall. So I don't think they have to be too concerned about it, but they are going to take the Rona off the board, not wanting to let the Rona Blackfeather combo go through. Impunity will take the Lyra. So now Armada, they still have all those options for where they want to go.
So you can see this is a typical 2.10 meta. All these heroes that are banned or picked are the meta composition picks that you see all the time, over and over again. So this is a very typical and strong draft from both sides. Armada now can either go with the Grace or the Lance. But I think what would make sense here, Grace will probably be a better fit because of the Divine Intervention that will help keep Vox alive to get his breaking point stacks and take out the Blackfeather.
Catherine, I was going to talk about Catherine because it's one of PKQ's best picks actually, but they decided to go with the Grace. Grace works well because her Holy Nova, like you mentioned, Sui Generis, works really well against the Blackfeather diving in, and her ultimate can keep the Vox alive as well.
So here now, Alpha, Reza would be really good. You want bursty heroes that can jump around, have a lot of momentum, AoE damage. Petal and Samuel would not work as well into a sustained comp like that. If they don't take the Samuel, they're going to give the Samuel over to Impunity, and that's a pretty solid comp from Impunity as well. So Armada needs to pick some, maybe even a Jungle Celeste potentially, to counter the Samuel pick, but let's see what Armada's going to
I feel like they had to go with something like the Reza or the Alpha because you need the hard engage to pair with the Grace. We've seen so many times teams try and do these double range compositions with the Grace, and it just doesn't work out because Grace is left in a spot where she really isn't able to have much effect. So I love the Reza pick here, especially for someone like Mango, who we know likes to be aggressive and likes to control the jungle with the help of his captain. Reza Grace, that looks like a very controlling duo in the jungle to me.
So Impunity at this point have multiple options. They could either go for something like a Baron, who works really well against the Vox, and you combine with the Blackfeather with the Lyra, you can keep him very safe and just try to kite away, use your range advantage. Otherwise, they're going to go for the Kestrel. This is most likely going to be an open power Kestrel.
That's kind of risky because Grace, once she maxes her Benediction, it's a range 9. She'd get on that Kestrel with ease, and that's something that we saw before when Grace was so dominant in the meta. She just countered the Kestrel really well.
Yeah, especially if it is a weapon Kestrel. You have that range 9, and when you use Benediction, you get a directional Holy Shield onto that Kestrel, and you're in her face. So all of a sudden, you're soaking up all of those Glimmer shots, and that's the bulk of the weapon Kestrel damage.
All right, well, we have a very aggressive composition coming out from ROX Armada. The last time we saw them on the world stage, they beat Team Solo Mid in less than 10 minutes to take the trophy. We'll see if they're going to be as dominant here on the stage in Singapore. They're going up against the home crowd favorites, though, Impunity. They've got the Kestrel, they've got the Blackfeather. We'll see if that's going to be enough for them to take this series. It is all on the line for these guys. Each and every game in this series is going to be so important moving on throughout Group C. Very quick predictions, guys. Going into this series, how do we feel this one's going to play out?
Armada, hands down.
Armada, hands down.
Hands down.
I think the draft is fairly close, but I think Armada is just the better team coming onto the fold.
I like the draft for Impunity up until that Kestrel pick. I think the Blackfeather, the Lyra, very strong, but after the Kestrel pick, I do think ROX Armada will take this one.
All right, we have a ROX Armada desk here. It's time to find out who the casters think will take this one, and it's time to get into our third series of the day and pass it over to our casters.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited to be here alongside Dowsey for this hype matchup. We got a lot of ROX fans up there at the analyst desk. I'm going with Impunity.
Well, we have to. We're in Singapore. It's the home crowd, and Impunity are going to be looking to represent SEA's hopes and dreams of a world championship. to do so against the previous world champion, well, that's a statement to be made.
It really is. To come out to maybe potentially take this 2-0. I mean, there's so many options on the table right now. Impunity, in my eyes, a bit of a wild card, like a little bit harder to predict, but you've done a lot of studying on both of these teams. With a draft like this, how do you think it plays out?
This is a very aggressive draft coming out of ROX Armada, especially considering that you have the star power of Mango and Druid on this Vox, on this Reza. It's going to allow them, if they can snowball, to take over the game. Impunity is a wild card. They are certainly someone you have to respect, a bit of a spanner in the works. However, everyone expects ROX Armada to come into this World Championship and make it a second, or at least fight for that second one. And so for Impunity, they must have something up their sleeves if they want to take games.
Well, I mean, they definitely have picks that can win this game. But when I look at what ROX has, and you know what ROX is capable of, it feels like, I mean, what is this Kestrel gun going to do? How do you get away from this?
Where's this Kestrel going?
Exactly.
Like, that's the real question. Are we going to see a CP Kestrel in the jungle? If we do, can she deal with a Reza? It's far more likely we see it in the lane as a weapon power variant, because when the stealth, she can escape the Reza and escape the box. And then we see that CP Blackfeather in the jungle, which is just so strong on update 2.10, and it's so versatile as well. We've already seen today a Shadowglass Broken Myth build on CP Blackfeather in the jungle. Also strong.
Incredibly
Aftershock,
strong.
Dragon's Eye. It allows you to play so many different roles. As a jungler, you might be a poking, high damage burst role. Maybe you're more brawly, sustainly, and just that threat that has to be dealt with by the Vox, by the Grace. And so I'm really excited to see how Impunity decide to deal with ROX. And I think potentially surprising them could just be that little sparkle they need, that little glimmer in the eye to try and get that upper edge.
Yeah, and I don't want to, crush any of these teams out here. We got C9 hanging out, but Impunity definitely one of my favorite teams here. I think these players are all really fun, not only to watch, but when you meet them in person, I think it really shines through, and you can tell this is exactly why they play the style that they actually do.
Yeah, so we're currently seeing on our screens the players from Impunity have an issue. We don't know what it is, but we'll find out eventually. And
have a tissue?
Have a tissue, yes. No, not yet.
I don't know.
They've got something going on, so we're going to find out what that is, of course. We want everyone here who's made it to the World Championship here in Singapore, the birth of Vainglory, the city where it became true, the place where it became true, just to be able to live their wildest dreams. And if they can't play to their fullest potential, then we're going to let them do that.
I hope we can cast to our fullest potential and give these guys what they actually deserve.
I mean, the Huma Dalsy combo, Huma Daddy combo.
I was wondering about that. Like,
I don't know.
Is it the Dowsinist?
No, we need a Dowsist. I like that.
No,
there we go.
That's pretty good. ROX, definitely all business, ready to go. A little fist bump there, okay.
This is such an exciting matchup for any of East Asia's fans, because this is the return of Druid. Like, Druid is the king of Vainglory. He is the flashiest laner. He is the person that people look up to. When they think mechanical god, they think Druid, right?
And it's been that way for a while.
Exactly. And so with Druid's injury, with his medical condition, being out of play for quite some time, and Ingenious taking the reins of that carry position, everyone has been very concerned about ROX's performance here at Worlds. How are they going to adapt? Can Druid come back into the team? Will the synergy be full? Like the desk was saying, teams are actually expecting Ingenious to come into that carry position and perform instead of Druid, because they potentially feel that ROX are more consistent, maybe less flashy, but that rock, that Ingenious can provide in the carry position. And this is really interesting because we have two teams here in Vainglory who are very happy to sub people out. If they want that consistent rock, then they go for it. If they want something slightly more flashy, then they sub it in. They really
what's
play
the kind
that
of
matchup.
mindset where you might be bringing that rock player in? I mean, what's the kind of mindset where you bring Druid in? Obviously, he's here right now, but why maybe would we see Ingenious come in?
So maybe not now, during the group stages. But once we start to get to the quarterfinals, start to get those semifinals and that best of 7 grand final, then you have so much room to experiment and test the waters with your opponent. And so game 1, you might throw Druid in there and he might just potentially not perform the way you want him to. So you need that reinforcement potentially to get you back into a stable position. And that's when you would bring someone like Ingenious, who can be that steady foundation for the team and just provide what the team needs. And once you've got that motivation in, once you've got that confidence back in, and once you want to just shut down everything, that's when you bring Druid in and just make that flashy game-winning play that people scream about for years to come, obviously.
We'll be screaming about it shortly here as the games will be getting underway. Looks like we got the headsets getting on here. That's always a good sign. Look a little pre-tapping, getting warmed up. You imagine they would be ready to go at this point. Dowsy, what was your prediction coming into this one?
I mean, if I was going to be honest, this is a 2-0
Don't lie to me, baby.
ROX Armada.
Okay.
But I want to see what Impunity are prepared here. We've talked about their boot camp. They've come here to, I believe it's a youth institution, to really try and prep their mentality and really get, as Koreans say, a strong mental. And they need that against East Asia. They need to be able to come into these games and know that they are a team that has earned their place here at the World Championship for being the best in the world at Vainglory. They are here to compete for that World Championship. Just because your first game is against the previous World Champions doesn't mean that you're in a bad position. This is really your time to make that statement that you are here to represent.
If you're Impunity right now, you're game planning, you know the drafts, you know exactly what you want to accomplish this game, but how do you approach this going up against Druid? Do you try to shut him down? Do you try to kick the legs out from under his teammates so they can't prop him back up? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, he's against a Reza. Like, in the jungle, we've got a Reza matchup.
This is one of your favorite picks, right?
Right. Reza's such a fun hero right now. So flexible, so many different builds. Currently, my favorite to see in competitive play is this Aftershock Clockwork build. It provides Reza just so much annoyance. You can jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out, shake it all about.
He's literally that on-hit burst.
He is the Hokey Pokey of Vainglory.
Get the damage, avoid the damage.
Yes. And so when you prioritize this clockwork, we've seen so much clockwork prioritization so far on the 2.10 Worlds patch. It's just provides so much utility to the hero. Now, Broken Myth can also come in. Maybe you need a bit of more bang for your buck. It already just depends, but Reza can be shut down. Like, that's the thing about Reza. You can snowball Reza and really put him far behind. If he can't get those defensive stats, if he can't get those offensive stats, then he is in a bad position. Grace, Vox can kind of bridge the gap a little bit, and when you have a Druid on your team, you expect that to be the case, but that's a potential weakness. Mango's not a weakness, though. That's the thing.
No,
like, you're going against
this guy's
Mango,
no joke.
And we've not really talked about the rest of the ROX Armada roster. Mango, a god in the jungle. PQQ is potentially the best captain in East Asia right now. He came onto ROX Armada and he took the reins of the team. Not only is he the captain player in game, but he's the captain in general. He's drafting for the team, he's directing the team, and he's breathed this fresh breath of life into the team as well. So that's what makes ROX so scary right now, is when they are pumping on full load, it just seems like they are an impossible ship to sink.
We've seen this team in the past demolish their opponents. I mean, some of the fastest games we've ever actually seen in competitive Vainglory. I feel with this draft here, it could be maybe not like, setting records, but
this is the thing that last year when we came to Vainglory Worlds, it was a completely different show. Vainglory was in a completely different place as a meta. We had snowball, early game aggression, where games were consistently being finished before the 10-minute mark. Vainglory since then has evolved. The jungle prioritization in the early game is there, but the snowball ability compared to previous World Championship is not. And so I don't necessarily expect to see ROX Armada come in here and 8-minute their opponents. And if they do, then you need to be scared. If you're one of those top North America, China, even EU teams, that ROX Armada, they've only just leveled up their game.
Only just leveling up. Pretty scary statements, honestly, coming from Mr. Dowsy himself.
That's my name.
Yeah, that is your name. It's a wonderful name as well.
Thank you.
Looks like, actually, the players are tapping away. And ladies and gentlemen, we've loaded into the Halcyon Fold. And without further ado, let's ready to get this match underway.
Group C, it's time to jump into the Halcyon Fold and figure out which one of these teams is going to be making their way over to the quarterfinals. Impunity on home ground. They've got those fans cheering for them. And it's time to see what happens as we get into this game. It is going to be a Crystal Power Black Feather in the jungle. DefQ going to be heading that one up. And so we're going to see that Weapon Power Kestrel heading into the lane, which I think is probably the best matchup into the Reza particularly.
How would you like to see this Kestrel build? I mean, we've seen different variations.
It's an interesting question because Kestrel is in she's not as strong on 2.10 as we've seen her in previous updates. This is not necessarily the build where we go for. So I'm not sure where I want to see him go just yet. Quisi is definitely going to have to go towards the crit. Sorrow Blade, probably just stack it. Monocle, maybe get a breaking point towards the end. We'll have to see, but SEA, Quadavar, we've talked about him. He's the mad scientist of Vainglory. That is his official title as of today. And so, who knows where builds go. That's going to be the Treant, going over to Impunity, a very strong start for them.
All right, Impunity feels good, man. They get the Elder Treant, a nice little start for themselves. Quadavar will rotate up to the lane with Quisi here. And it's just going to be Druid trying to get this farm up early. Now, you talked a lot about the Voxes we've been seeing. As far as his build up into this Kestrel here, I mean, is there something that's going to outshine this weapon Kestrel?
So, Kestrel definitely is able to outtrade Vox, and we're seeing this right now.
Oh, a lot of damage coming out. Healing Flask, he'll be okay.
He'll be okay, but this is not a good start for Druid. Quadavar's on Lyra. He can heal up Druid. PQQ, he's on Grace. He's not level 6. That's when the heal comes in for the Grace. So this laning stage for Impunity is actually very strong for them. They've got a winning laning stage. They've also got a winning jungle matchup as well. This is pretty huge for Impunity if they can start to pull some shots, but PQQ's not having any of it.
A little Holy Nova fun right there. Bipolar will go down. Water Vice having some fun. Druid doing his best, and one of the things about the Vox, like he does not have that long attack range, and at this point, level 3, oh, DefQ using the boost jumps, doesn't paint him hard, on point, almost taking him down, they turn to PQQ, he'll be okay. Of course, the Sigil comes out, Impunity feeling really good. I mean, this is basically a somewhat siege comp, right?
And this is the thing that SEA are kind of herald for, is they love to fight, man. They love to just sit in lane, 3v3 it all day and just really try and lay down that dominance. Mango going to stop that backport onto Quisi. That's a really big cancel there because Druid is back in lane here. Quisi's going to have to stick around. PQQ playing with fire, but this guy knows his ins and outs. Grace, still a very tanky hero. ROX Armada, they've just kind of won a trade here. They've bought themselves some time in the lane. They've given Druid some ability here now to scale up. He's going to have his Poison Shiv within the next 30 seconds, 50 seconds when he goes to the shop. And so Druid here going to be fairly happy with the way this lane is going. Yes, it was a rocky start for him, but if he can weather that storm, if he can go towards this crit orientated Vox build that we saw earlier from Hundle, it's so popular in Europe when you go up against a Kestrel. Poison Shiv, Breaking Point, double Tyrant's Monocle, and you just run at the Kestrel, dodge out her Glimmer Shots, and just make sure that you are out-damaging.
Impunity, they take the second Elder Treant. They're making the plays early on here now. I really like the way you described the Vox build coming together. I think it really makes sense as well. Iron Guard contract, you go into the Poison Shiv. Now you've got some sustain on your side, and that kind of negates what the Lyra is bringing to the table.
Yeah, to defeat Lyra, you need to run at her with a Poison Shiv, or run at her allies with a Poison Shiv, and really just keep that mortal wounds ticking. Quadavar is going to have so much healing available to him. It makes this lane stage really difficult for ROX, and you see Impunity are actually taking a fairly substantial lead in this early game. DefQ is going towards that Aftershock as well that we've just seen be so powerful in the 2.10 update. Aftershock into Dragon's Eye especially just provides DefQ an ability to go a 2-item build, stack up some defenses, and he just has so much damage. When you pair that with Quisi's ridiculous crit burst that the Glimmer Shots will provide, then this is actually going to put ROX in a very scary place for the next 5 minutes.
Scorcher from Mango, but they can't follow up as the bulwark comes down. It's going to be a long cooldown. Glimmer Shots raining down. PQQ, he's got the Healing Flask just came off cooldown now. That is a big deal right there. He will not have that for a long time, though.
The thing about Healing Flask is ultimately you want to be using it off cooldown because then you get more uses of it during its lifespan. So ROX aren't necessarily going to be upset that they have to use it immediately, but definitely will influence their play as they try and defend their turret. Like you mentioned earlier, a Black Feather and a Kestrel can siege a turret, especially when DefQ hits that level 8, upgrades that on point to the extra range. He's got that Aftershock now. This makes trading for him so strong. Mango realistically going to struggle to actually 1v1 DefQ, and DefQ knows this. He's moving in for the aggressive steal. Unfortunately, needs to
pull the humanist there.
Yeah, pull the humanist.
What are you going to do? I mean, sometimes you just throw that on point the wrong
It's
direction.
all about the statement. I could have stolen that from you, Mango, but you know what? I don't
I'm gonna
need
give
it to
this
beat
one
you.
to you.
I don't need it to beat you.
Oh, the mercy. DefQ hanging out in the lane now. He's going to go ahead and put this Aftershock to work here. It's a nice power spike, and the turret's dropping down low. Impunity know this. They're going to jump in. PQQ taking a lot of damage. He doesn't have his Fountain complete. He's not level 6. These are two major power spikes. Oh, they stopped the back there. Now, PQQ, he also does not have the healing flask, so this is a great advantage for Impunity. They probably take this turret, right?
Yeah, they take this turret. ROX will fall back and allow it to happen. Of course, they want to get the farm. That's first turret blood coming through here for Singapore.
Turret blood on the map.
Are looking so strong against ROX. They understand that they have so much early game power against ROX Armada, that ROX Armada are going to have to be the ones playmaking in the late game to beat this composition. And they have come into Group C with a mission. They want to represent SEA here on their home ground.
Druid had 2,700 gold. He'll go ahead and pick up some items here.
Just a couple.
Now, yeah, just a couple items. He's now a lot stronger than their last clash, their last engagement. So I think this is going to be a nice power spike for himself here. Now, is he ready to start trading, to start finding that damage, to jump onto these key targets? Is he going to wait for something else?
No, like ROX's composition relies around this Grace so heavily to be able to outtrade the Kestrel, outtrade the CP Blackfeather here. They need PQQ to hit that level 6. He's halfway on his experience bar, so it's not coming anytime soon in the next couple of minutes or so. Impunity still have a really big advantage here. Not only in gold, it's about 1,500 at this point, which they can continue snowballing.
Now we look at the Kestrel. This is a level 6 infusion and one in the pocket.
That's very interesting from Kusi. He just wants to siege all day. He doesn't want to go back to shop. He wants to keep Druid at bay. Makes a lot of sense. They can do it, but here's the fight.
Jump in, Bulwark's down, wait for it, comes through as well. PQQ taking a lot of damage. Can they turn it around? The jump in, Mango. And he's using that ultimate finally here, but he's not able to find the damage to trade. Kwesi raining the glimmer shots down. Will we be able to find a kill here? Mango just dancing around the house. He unfolded at this point. DefQ landing these on points. He's now level 8. He has this range to use at his will. I mean, nobody fights this. You see the healing out of Lyra, and Impunity just keep the siege coming.
Yeah, they do. DefQ actually missed 3 on points in a row there, which is just something you can't do on CB Blackfeather. But when he hits them, you see the damage that comes through. ROX Armada are getting sieged.
Yeah, 2-man on points coming through. You cannot, another 2-man on point. He's making up for those last 3 you called him out on. And DefQ doing a great job. Lyra, another one right there. Having some fun out on the field, huh?
Oh man, the crowd's loving it. I think Impunity right now, perhaps the nerves are getting to them. This is a pretty big moment for them. The amount of pressure that's on their shoulders being the representative of SEA on their home ground, but they're taking this
wants
turret.
some. Oh, DefQ! Moving in, that was a deep on point right there. Now he's really feeling himself. The second turret has gone down. ROX are on the back foot.
And they are doing this without even having to take lives off ROX Armada. We're still 0-0, but you would not know it. This game has been full of action because Impunity really do understand the win conditions of their composition. They understand that really up until the 14 to 16 minute mark, they are ahead of ROX Armada unless they misstep. If things were to go evenly on an even set, then they can just trade. It's such a common move, you know, especially in games like Tress, when you have that slight advantage, you just trade your pieces because eventually you're going to have 2 and they're going to have 1. And this is what Impunity are doing. They're trading down every time, knowing that ROX Armada realistically can't deal with what they're outputting here. DefQ is almost at that Dragon's Eye point. In just 300 gold, he's going to have so much damage potential available to him, and I don't think ROX are ready for it.
Mango doing his best to apply that Scorcher jump in there, try to proc the damage off onto Impunity, but Impunity just hang at range, and every single time the on-point lands, he's gaining a little bit of durability, so he's trading. These guys they have the durability, they have the healing, and this siege potential is just amazing. It's really beautiful how Impunity have approached this early game.
Certainly, and they're looking to try and take this choke point turret pre-11 minutes, and ROX Armada are going to have to initiate a fight if they want to defend it.
The jump in from PQQ, trying to slow them down, getting that holy shield onto his team, but nobody's ready to jump just yet. Druid has his breaking point. He has a fresh weapon infusion as well, level 9 on that infusion. Are they ready to make the jump?
Druid's also got double defensive, tier 2 shielding, tier 2 armor, and it means that he's going to have to deal. They're jumping in here, looking for some fights. Quisi is going to be escaping, he's going to be Neverform detonated going on in. Looks like the fight has been disengaged.
Disengaged on the fight, but what a jump. And a jump right back in. PQQ dropping low. He'll use the foul and stay alive. These guys are playing with fire right now.
They certainly are, but Impunity are continuing to be able to siege. That turret's going to go down pre-11 minutes. Wow, what a statement coming out of these guys so far. They are certainly dominating the ROX Armada, who have just picked a composition, perhaps potentially disrespecting what Impunity can do here. We haven't seen much Kestrel on this update. Her nerfs really did hit her hard. She used to be such a dominant hero pre-2.10, and then the nerf book slapped her in the face. But right now, Quisi is just showing you the strength of Kestrel, regardless of hero damage, is that she can just take turrets so quickly. They've taken 3 turrets so far. ROX Armada only have 2 remaining.
He's looking for Druid. He jumps in. We're looking for the on-point to connect. It's not the one that he was looking for. Impunity, they drop back, maybe looking for the Regoose. Turn around, another on-point connecting. Who's the jump? Druid taking a lot of damage. Taking a heart onto the minion just to get himself closer. He's going to catch that on-point right there, just on the tail end. Now, it's the portal forward. A nice Holy Nova will dissuade them. This is the jump back from Druid. Now, Druid split away from his team. PQQ will go down. First blood at 12 minutes. Impunity making it happen. Can they stop the port back? No, they cannot stop the port.
No, but wow. They can rotate now straight over to the gold mine, and they can take this gold lead that they've generated here at 4,500 against the previous world champions of Vainglory.
What a statement, huh?
They're going to take that, they're going to make it 6,000, and they're very much looking like they're going to take the first game off of the world champions. Woo! In all of our promo videos, we've had Playoff Beard talking to the strength of the world champions, and he said, if you think you're better, then first you have to beat them. Why not do it on home soil?
Why not do it on home soil, and why not just come out the gate swinging and just do it on day one? Impunity looking amazing thus far. But Dowsy, say you're on the comms with ROX right now. What are you telling your team? How do you pull yourself back into this?
Well, you have to look at the items and realize that realistically, ROX have not hit anywhere near their damage potential yet. Druid is looking to finish that Sorrow Blade as his 3rd damage item, and that's going to provide him some sustained damage. Mango hasn't finished his Broken Myth yet, but that's really hurting him because of the fact that DefQ is so far ahead on this Black Feather, able to just provide so much poke and sustain and stackage with the Dragon's Eye. ROX are really struggling to be able to deal with these team fights, and they need to all in.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. I mean, those crits, 485 coming out. Every single Glimmer Shot that crits there. That's insane.
And he's getting Bonesaw as his 3rd item, potentially a Tension Bow, just due to the fact that he wants to be able to pierce through the armor that has been prioritized so early by all members of ROX Armada. ROX have shown so much respect to the damage of Impunity, potentially too much. They are not being flashy, but they're moving in.
Active camo in. Then maybe he puts them in a bad place, but they turn it around. They just burst Mango into the dirt. Now looking for more Druid. What can he do? He's going to get the heal coming out of the Grace there, but it's not enough. He's fallen. Impunity are doing it. A 3-man. Holy Nova just buying a little bit of time. PQQ's going to go down. That's the ace. That's Impunity up 4-0. And they're going to go to work on these turns. Dowsy, have they just done it?
Humus. At the beginning of this game, we talked about the fact that the snowball meta was potentially out of sorts, that ROX Armada last year was snowballing teams all across the place. If you told me Impunity would come in here on day one and upset ROX Armada like this, I would have told you you're lying. What a start from Impunity.